Hi, welcome, good morning, happy Saturday. Today is July 6th. So for those of you who are in the United States of America, happy birthday, America. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying a couple of days of peace and celebration and potentially maybe sleeping in a little bit this morning. But nonetheless, I'm happy to come to you live this morning because I want to talk to you about an important subject. So in case you don't know me, I'm Marianne Brewer. Lots of you are new to my page and I'm happy to welcome you here. All I do every single day is I help people with their horses. I either help people get into relationship or rapport with their horses, or I help them problem solve, or whatever people actually need with their horses is what I do. So my company is called In the Company of Horses. I'm based here in New Jersey, and today I want to talk with you about a really, really important subject. And you'll see me looking at my notes here because I did write some notes because I don't really want to miss anything. We're talking about relationship-based horsemanship, and that's what I teach and what I do, and that's even more natural than natural horsemanship. So if you're a member of the natural horsemanship movement, this work actually takes it another step farther, another step deeper, and I think it really was created based inside of the fact that so many women own horses, and so many women are not aggressive, they're not assertive, and they're not necessarily people who want to show them who's boss, or that kind of idea. So when a woman gets a horse, usually it's a love affair. Usually she gets a horse because it's been a long time coming. She wants the peace and joy of being able to go out and ride and be with her horse, but she also wants the relationship, especially if you're a woman over 40 and you don't necessarily have competition goals. And that doesn't mean that you don't have competition goals, you certainly could. But sometimes when women that are over 40 years old have a horse, it is really about the relationship. So that's really what I want to talk with today, because so much of what we're taught is that that we need to go do something with our horses. We need to show them what to do, or people will ask me, well, how do I do it? Or can you show me what to do? Or can you tell me what to do? Or when should I do it? When should I quit doing it? Whatever the thing I'm doing is. And then the questions that you get are, what are the steps? How do I do it next? What do I do next? And so that's not my style of horsemanship. My style of horsemanship is my goal is that I want to give you a place to think from, that I want you to have clean observation skills so you can actually see what's happening and you don't have to go consult a YouTube video to find out what to do next, but for you to really be able to think your way through and problem solve with your horse, that the two of you do it together. So the reason that I'm coming to you today about this topic called rapport is because it really is what needs to happen before all the stuff that you do. It's what's underneath the doing part, and that's about who you're being. So I want to give you the first I want to give you the definition of rapport. Okay, so this is the definition, the Webster's Dictionary definition of rapport. It's a close and harmonious relationship in which people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings or ideas and they communicate well. So inside of that, I want to know if any of the things that we've been taught fit in. Okay, so the things like, the things we've been told, like you have to be the leader. You have to show them who's boss. The game is who moves whose feet, that you always have to be the alpha. You always need to be in control. And to me, all of that sounds like it's about dominance and hierarchy. And to me, it sounds like it's about winning and losing. It's about only getting my way, or always controlling the situation. I don't know what it sounds like to you. I'd love to hear what it sounds like to you, but it doesn't, when we're told that we have to be the leader, or we have to show them who's boss, or that we have to be the alpha, or the game is who moves whose feet. It sounds like a contest. It doesn't sound like a love affair. It doesn't sound like a relationship. It doesn't sound like what I actually want with my horses, because inside of rapport, right, it's a close and harmonious relationship. So a close and harmonious relationship. In harmony, harmonies actually go together. Harmony is something we actually do together. Harmony is something that complements something else. You know, if you think about harmonizing with another human being, when you hear voices like, have you heard Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, when they just sing together a cappella, they sing, you know, so beautiful together. All their voices actually complement one another. So start thinking about that, or whatever art or whatever love you have. It could be dance. You know, if you see dancers dancing together, they're in harmony, they're complementing one another, they're in a close bit of communication. If you're playing music with someone, if you're let's say you're, you know, there's the drummer and there's the guitar player, and I'm always amazed at how how people can harmonize with each other playing music. I love to go see rock and roll, or even jazz, or whatever the music is. I love to see live music. I'm a big bluegrass fan. I love to see live music because I love to see the relationship that's actually happening between the participants. And it's no different. I mean, actually, it's probably even closer than that when you've got a horse and a human, you know, because there's these two thinking beings that are actually opposites. You know, so if we've got a horse and they're a prey animal, and we've got a human who's a predator, that's a very different situation than if we've got two predators trying to harmonize with one another, or two prey animals trying to harmonize with one another. There's a natural congruence there. But if we want to step into creating a close and harmonious relationship with another being that's actually a predator, or I'm sorry, a prey animal, we probably need to do some different things, because there's a natural intimidation between a prey animal and a predator. So this is, I think, what some of the gifts that women actually bring to horsemanship, and to you know, it's one of the gifts, I think, that the confluence, like the mass amount of women who actually own horses today, I think this is one of the gifts that we actually bring, because for the most part, the nature of a woman is more harmonious, and that, you know, whether we have children or we don't, the nature of a woman having children is to hold a family together and care for a family and be together. And inside of that, like and I know this doesn't hold true today, you know, and families are all different today, so I'm not trying to stereotype, but in traditional roles, you know, where we've had somebody who leaves the home and goes out every day and does something away from the family, and then we've got a family that's staying together, or someone who's keeping them together or coming together, then we have a relationship where someone is the gatherer and someone is creating the harmony. Okay, so I know that relationships are different today, but in tradition, that's kind of how it's been going. And I think that we've brought that here into 2019. So when we speak of rapport, it's not something you can do. You can't do rapport, right? You can't say, well, you know, I went out and I scratched my horse and I gave him cookies and he still wouldn't let me put the halter on him. Well, because rapport is more than finding an itchy place on your horse or giving them cookies. They have to believe you. It has to come from inside of you. You have to find the love in your heart to go out and really look for that itchy place, so you can be in that place with your horse, so they don't all of a sudden get scared and leave you and think that you shouldn't be touching them. You know, I have this happen where people will say, and in fact, I have a client right now who has this rescue pony where he the pony won't, the pony is super, super skeptical. I don't know why. I don't know what's happened to the pony in his life, but he's super skeptical about people. And my instruction was, I want you to go out and feed this pony out of your hands every single day. I want you to hold his bucket every single day. And so that's fine. He got to this place where he can hold the bucket for the pony, but if he reaches his hand over to touch the pony, then he's not, the pony leaves. So I question what's going on inside. What's going on inside of the human? It's not just that you're feeding your horse. Like, there has to be this deep love. There has to be a place where you genuinely care about the other being that can't be faked. And even if this is a horse that you're turning around and you're going to sell this horse, and this is not your forever horse, this is not your heart horse, you genuinely need to find something that you like about this other being for them to actually feel that you really care. And you can practice this on humans, because humans, you know, it's not easy to get along with all humans. We don't all have the same views about things. You know, this is like why there's apples and oranges, you know, because some people like apples and some people like oranges. And especially in our political climate today, you know, it's very easy to be opposed to people who have different political views than you do. And what I'm here to say is even if they do have different political views than you, or even if they like oranges and you like apples, there's probably a lot you have in common that you could really find to love about each human being that you come in contact with. It's the same way about the horses. If we're looking to really truly be in rapport, right? If we're really looking to create a close and harmonious relationship in which people or groups are actually concerned about each other and they actually understand each other's feelings and ideas and communicate well, we genuinely have to look to see what are your feelings. So when we're with our horses, like lots of times I'll hear people say, I don't really care what's going on with that horse. You know, I've got 1 hour and we're in our lesson and we need to get this done right now. I don't care if you're scared of that side of the arena. You need to pay attention to what I'm telling you to do right now. And in that case, are we really in rapport? Are we really saying to our horse, I actually care and I'm concerned about what you're feeling and what your ideas are? You know, sometimes people will say to me, well, I go to get my horse and, you know, they're out in their corral. And then when I bring them out, all they want to do is graze, you know, on the green grass. And, you know, and I tell them we're going to graze when we're done. They know we're going to go grazing when we're done, but right now we're going to go ride first. Well, that's just you know, so you have your wants and needs and your horse has his wants and needs, and whose wants and needs are actually going to get met? Are you actually in rapport? Do you actually care that your horse has probably been staring at that green grass for, you know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that 1 hour that you come and take him out, you say, no, you can't have any of that? You know, are you really in rapport? Or are you really just saying, well, I let him graze. I just let him graze later. Is that doing rapport? Or are you actually really in rapport with your horse? Do you actually really care? Is it really true and honest? It has to come from your heart. So one of the things that we do in For the Love of Horses. For the Love of Horses is my 12-week online coaching program. And it's designed to create a deep and unbreakable bond with your horse in 12 weeks. So the first thing we do is we really dive into this topic. You know, we really look at who are you and who do you want to prove yourself to be to your horse every single day when you see your horse. Are you someone who has caring and are concerned and you do have understanding? Or are you someone who's going out to show them who's the boss? Are you somebody who's going out to show them who the alpha horse is, or prove to them that you can move their feet and they can't move your feet? You know, you really want to look at what is the difference here. And here's what I'm talking about. So you look, if you see my profile picture, right? I'm holding up a sign. So just to have a look at my profile picture. And my sign has 3 words on it. And these are words that I want my horses to know that they can count on me when I show up to be those 3 words. Like, so who I am is, my first word is friendly. And so who I am is, you can count on when I show up, I'm going to be a friendly person. I'm not going to be a tyrant. I'm not going to go around, you know, showing anybody who's boss. Like, I'm going to show up and I'm probably going to be bringing gifts. I'm probably going to be bringing a cookie, or I'm probably going to feed you, or something special is probably going to happen if I show up. I'm going to help you with some fly spray, or I'm going to maybe give you a shower. It's like, the reason I'm in the house today is because it's like 100 degrees and 100% humidity outside. It's like soup. You walk outside and you just feel how thick it is. You know, so when I show up and I've got the fly spray, or I show up and I'm ready to give somebody showers, they're like, yay. I am really, really happy about that. And that's because who I am is friendly. I'm not just going to go out. In fact, I actually don't ride when I feel it, when it's this hot out. I just feel like if I were covered with hair and sweat, would I actually want to put on a saddle and be ridden? Now, I don't have a job where I have to saddle up these horses and go get the cows and bring them in, so I don't need to do that. If I did need to do that, I would take my friendly self and I would convince them that this is a good idea, that this is what we need to do. I would make sure there's lots of good things in it for them. So we want to really look at and get honest about, who am I? So if I show up, like, so some people say, well, I'm going to be a confident person. So that's great, right? Being confident is great. But if who you are is not confident, if who you are is somebody who's always second guessing and is not sure about what's going on, but you know you're completely in love with your horse, you know that you would never let anything hurt your horse, you always want the best for your horse, maybe who you are is loving. Maybe you'll show up as a loving person, and inside of that, maybe who you'll be is actually a caring person. So maybe you won't show up as a confident person, but maybe you'll show up as a person who really cares about what their horse needs. And in that way, as a caring person, you actually might really notice, wow, you would really like a shower today, or you would really like, maybe you would really like a cookie, or you look like you might be hungry, or maybe how about we go out and go grazing and we don't ride today because it's so hot. How about what happens is when I take you out to ride, or I take you out to do something, what we do is we go grazing first. What if that was a possibility? What if we just go grazing first? I mean, we're going to do it anyway, so why don't we just do it first? So when you start proving to your horse who you are, the places where you're opposed, the places where your horse wants to say, I need to do this, and their extreme behaviors come up, extreme behaviors like they're pulling on the lead rope, or extreme behaviors like they're pushing into you, these extreme behaviors melt away. So if you're a person whose word is maybe friendly or caring or concerned or loving, then what you're going to do is you're actually going to pay attention to your horse's needs. So remember the definition of rapport, a close and harmonious relationship in which people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings and ideas, and they communicate well. So to me, communicating well is not pulling on each other on the lead rope. Right? Communicating well is, I mean, I've got a lead rope on you because I live in New Jersey, and it's dangerous for you to be free in New Jersey because there's lots of roads and just things that could cause a horse to be in some sort of trouble, right? So if what is a relationship to me where we communicate well is where the slack is always in the lead rope. Or maybe I take my horse out and I let them graze for however long they need to graze for, and then I say, are you ready? Come on, let's go. And then my horse says, I would love to go, right? That's me showing concern for them, and it's them showing concern for me, for what I actually want. And that's going to live everywhere I go. And I just want to tell you this little short story, because this was a funny little thing that happened. It actually happened a couple of months ago. It was the first time that I rode Sterling in the spring of the year. And I had worked on this project all winter long, and I had a big, I didn't spend a lot of time with him. So when I brought him out and I saddled him up. Actually, we had spent the whole day together. I was cleaning up and he was with me and just following me around and doing everything I was doing. And he really seemed to want to do something with me. So we went over to the tack shed and I got out my brushes and I brushed him, and he stood there and loved it. And I thought, well, I'll get out the saddle, see what he thinks about that. And I got out the saddle and he just stood there and he seemed to love that. And then, I was like, well, he seems to be in a good way, and maybe I don't have to do, move him around very much, just enough maybe to tighten his saddle and make sure he was going to be okay. And then so what happened was I I went over to the bench where I get on. I jumped up on the bench and I asked him to come over. And he pulled right up over next to me, right? And I just had a halter and my reins on him. And I got on and he walked off right away, which is really unusual. He doesn't usually do that. I mean, all my horses know that we wait, like I get on and then we wait, and I might have to, do a bunch of things. And one of the ways I have them wait is I give them a cookie or some sort of a treat. I give something on the right and something on the left, and they'll typically just wait for that. And then after that, it's okay. Are we ready? We go. Just like when we were on the ground and we were eating grass, and I said, okay, are you ready? Let's go. I want my horse to ask me that too. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. But this day he didn't do that. He just walked off. I'm like, well, that's really weird. And plus he was taking me like over around by the tractor, and it didn't feel safe. I didn't like going over there. It felt too skinny. And so I brought him around and I got off, and I said, well, maybe I should have moved him around a little. I hadn't been on him all year yet, so, I thought, let's see what happens. So I went and I just put my lead rope on, and I just asked him to move around a bit in some circles and some changes of directions, and he was spectacular. Like, he was super connected, and he was just upright and balanced and bent in the direction of travel in both directions. He was just amazing. It was beautiful. I was like, well, seems like we're connected. I don't know, what was that about? So I go over and I put my reins back on, and I jump back up on the bench, and he comes over and picks me up, and this time he waits. He doesn't walk off. He waits for me. He waits for a long time, and it's all good. And then we walked off, and I felt him sort of, I don't know, maybe he was either kicking at his belly or kind of bucking or something. I really never felt him do that, so I wasn't sure what it was. So I get off, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I look under his belly, and I had thoroughly brushed him, but what I thought were gnats were actually little tiny baby ticks. And there must have been 12 or 15 of these little tiny baby ticks all over his scrotum. He's an intact boy, so there's not a lot of room under there, So there's all these little baby ticks. He's got his leg in the air. I'm picking ticks off, and like, it was awful. I mean, they must have been so itchy. You know how it is when you get a tick on you? They're just terribly itchy. So I pulled all these ticks off, and I went back and I said to him, come in the barn. I'll put some salve on that. I got a little stuff, smeared it all under there to help with the itch. I said, good boy. I went back over. I jumped up on the bench. I put my reins back on, and I got on, and we had a lovely, lovely ride. It was beautiful. And, he helped me open and close the gates, and we went all out in the front lawn, and we went and got the mail, and we just went all over the place. Like, we did all kinds of things. Like, I asked him to help me do stuff, because he likes that. And so that's what we did. And, that's rapport. He had a concern. He shared it with me. I honored his feelings and his ideas and his thoughts, and he also honored mine. I went through all my troubleshooting to say, well, what could be going on? I didn't automatically think, well, I have to show him who's boss. Just because I haven't been on him all year doesn't mean he can take me around this tractor. It's dangerous and I'm scared, or what's he doing now? He's going to start bucking. I'm going to take him in the round pen and make him run and, expel all this energy. Like, that's not what he was showing me. That's not what I was seeing. But the thing is when we're in this rapport, when we're truly in rapport, when we're truly in this harmonious relationship where we care and we have concern about what each other thinks, that's when we start to look at what could potentially be going on that's deeper and not go opposed to our horses. And our horses don't go opposed to us in that way as well. They know if you show up, right, and you be your words, like who Marianne is friendly, or whatever, look at my words, or who you are is loving or concerned, then you will actually be listening to your horse. You will actually be in a conversation with your horse. There actually will be rapport present. So my goal is really to help people listen to their horses and take away those extreme behaviors. You can't pretend to do this. You have to really be listening. You have to really be concerned. Now, I want to address something else because this is a common question, and this was the question that the person who asked me. I was a guest on a podcast called Whoa Podcast, and I think I actually posted it on this page if you want to listen to it. John, the host there, he said to me, well, Marianne, if all you are is loving and nice to your horse, I mean, these are 1,000-pound animals. They can step on you and hurt you and kill you easily, right? And yes, that's the truth. Yes, they can. I mean, they can injure us without us even trying, without knowing, without meaning it. Certainly if they're mad about something, that certainly can be dangerous. So I'm in no way suggesting that you're going to be stepped on or pushed around, because actually, even if you think about it, right, just because you're friendly or you're loving or you're concerned, right, that doesn't mean you're going to be stepped on. A mama bear to her baby is friendly and loving and concerned, but come and try to take her bear away from her cub, and you will see a mama bear come out. The example that I used in the Whoa podcast was, if you had a small child, like I actually live with I have a 1-year-old person who lives with me, and, she's just up off the floor and she's trying to walk. Well, there's no way in the world that I'm going to let one of my horses step on her. It's not going to happen. I just need to assign that kind of importance to my being, to my personal space. And, when the mama bear comes out and says, there's no way you're going to step on me, then they don't necessarily, when we're being horse-like, the horses, if you've seen, I'll actually post a link here in this thread. There's something called Battle at Kruger, and you'll see that these wildebeests, right, they're just walking along, grazing, minding their own business, and all of a sudden a pride of hungry lions comes by and they want baby wildebeest. And so they, doing their predator thing, they go and they attack one of the baby wildebeest, and they get a baby out of the whole herd of wildebeest, and the herd seemingly runs away. But then they come back, and then they join forces, and they go and they get that baby, and then they take that baby and they leave. They don't stay there and fight. It's over. And, we need to be like that too. We need to be able to bring up our mama bear, but then go back to being the friendly, loving person that we are and not hold a grudge about it. That's true rapport. And that's true rapport because we have concern, because there's concern involved in that. So, I think that's really all I want to say about that today. I hope what you're hearing is that what I really want you to do is be you and be honest about who you are. You don't need to be like me. You certainly don't need to be like your trainer. You don't need to be like any of the gurus. You need to be like you, and you need to find out who you really are. So I would love it if you would share in the comments somewhere in this thread. I'll just check on the thread over the next few days. I would love if you would share your words. Like, who are you? Who can your horses count on you to be? And we can definitely have a conversation about that. We can definitely really flesh out who are you and who do you want to be? And I would love to hear your thoughts about being truly in rapport and who it is that you're being before you go start doing things with your horse. Because sure, there's things to do with your horse, but the bottom line is, and really what's underneath that, and what's far more important than what you do, is who you're being about it. And so in my 5 shifts to a deep and unbreakable bond with your horse, the webinar that I talked about, I'll actually put a link to that in here as well. The first shift is think differently. And it really is what I'm talking about here today. I'm really talking about stop the ideas of that we have to show them who's boss, or that, you always have to be the leader. What I suggest is that you need to be clear about who you are and show that to your horse. And I want you to be clear about the best version of you that you can be, and not something so far from who you are, but something really close to who you are. Who can your horse count on you to be? There's a reason you have that horse. And what is that reason? So who can they count on you to be? I promise you, if you do this work, it'll take away all this confusion about what to do. So many people that I talk to hundreds of people because I offer a free phone call. I talk to hundreds of people. And so many, there's a few concerns But one of the top concerns is people are so confused by all the conflicting information out there. And I understand, and that's because it's based in what to do. If you can really get grounded in who you're being first, that's going to make all the difference to what you actually do. Because if who you're being is somebody who's friendly or concerned, you're not necessarily going to be in a contest to see who can move whose feet. You're going to show your horse, hey, be careful of me, and I'm going to be careful of you. And what's important to me is you keep slacking this lead rope, and that's going to be important to me. I'm not going to mindlessly just take the slack out of the lead rope if one of the things that's important to me is we have a light and soft relationship. I'm going to be responsible for keeping that slack in the lead rope, but I'm also going to make sure that my horse understands that this is one of the things I'm concerned about. This is one of the things that's important to me. Because remember, being in rapport is really a two-way street. It's a group of people or beings. It's more than one. There has to be another being to actually be in rapport. All right, cool. So I think that that settles that for now. For some reason, the live stream isn't letting me see too many comments, so I'm not able to really see comments, but I will stick around and I will be in the comments for you, and I will answer any questions that you might have or respond to any thoughts that you might have or anything that you want to share. As always, I am obviously Marianne Brewer, and I spend every single day helping people create a deep and unbreakable bond with their horses. That's the goal. I want every horse to have a forever horse. A forever home. I want every human to have a forever horse and every horse to have a forever home. Because in 2019, no one needs a horse. So if you have one and you love your horse, and you're not actually experiencing the joy that you got a horse for every single time you're with the horse, then send me a private message. I'm happy to chat with you about how to fix that. Because horses are expensive, and they're not just expensive in dollars. They're expensive in time, and they're expensive in heart and desire. They're expensive in, our health and well-being. And if you have a horse and you're like most of the people I know, it occupies a lot of space in your thinking, and so there's no reason why, there's no reason in the world why you can't have a deep and unbreakable bond with your horse, one that goes with you wherever you go. It's not one that you only have when you're handing out the cookies, but it's also one that when your horse is spooked, they come together with you. They don't leave you. They don't spook and leave you on the trail. They spook and say, hey, what are we going to do about this? All right, so I'm going to end this broadcast, so thank you all for joining me. Happy holiday weekend if you're here in the United States, and if you're somewhere else in the world, happy weekend. And I would love to hear from you. Feel free to drop your comments in the comment box, and be sure to send me a private message if you need any help. I'm here to help. That's what I do. Bye, everyone.